Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome in. My name is Kesley Anderson, and today we are here to make the your ornament with your word of the year. So it doesn't matter what your word is yet. Maybe you haven't selected your word for next year. I'm also going to show you how you can change this and modify your text, your engraving on the front, so that it can be, if you want to do, like, if you have a Swiftie in the family, or you kind of just want to commemorate the Swiftie era, you could say, in my such and such era, and make your bracelet using that. That was my inspiration for this ornament, was the all the Swifties we have in our family. So actually, I'm going to show you two ways to do this ornament. We will be using the Glowforge Aura. So you'll get to see this, and we'll talk about some tips and tricks and how to avoid some pitfalls as you go along, and some of the different supplies that I use to make this, to make my project. Now, I do have a bunch of supplies in front of me, so I thought maybe I would go over these first, and then I can move them out of the way. With your Glowforge Aura, you have a couple options as far as materials go. So one of the material options is to use Aura's proof grade material. And what that means is the Aura proof grade material, your Glowforge material, you want to make sure that has the Glowforge Aura logo on the bottom of it. That means it'll go in your Glowforge Aura. And it's proof grade because they've already proofed it. They know that this material is going to work in the Glowforge Aura. It has the cut settings, and everything are in the Glowforge Aura, so you're ready to go if you use the proof grade material. And they have you have a lot of different choices. You have acrylics, some different thin and thicker types of acrylic, different types of wood, like you have cherry wood, you have a balsa wood. You also have, I put this one back here because it's bigger, but the wood veneers, these are really thin woods. So you can use a wood veneer if you have that. I also thought for this workshop, if you have the proof grade material, you can go ahead and use the proof grade, but I also wanted to show you, I'm trying to find my proof grade here. I also wanted to show you how you can use, so this is the proof grade, which I've already cut one piece out. I save every little scrap of my pieces, and I just keep reusing them. With the proof grade material, it does already have the masking on the material, so you won't need to mask. But if you're using like the Make Market balsa wood, this is what I'll be using today, because I thought I would show you. The proof grade materials are so easy to use, and as you're getting started with your Aura, I recommend using the proof grade materials until you get comfortable, because I still consider myself a beginner with the Aura. And the first time I plugged it in and I got started, it was like, make sure you're using proof grade materials or you'll start a fire. And I like kind of scared me, and I was like, oh my gosh. But then I went on Facebook groups and I read more, and I do keep my eye on my Aura. Like I would never leave my laser cutter cutting without being in close proximity, just in case something did catch on fire. I want to be close by. But I put a lot of different materials in your Glowforge, so the amount of materials you can cut are really just expanding day by day, and what you're willing to try. So I thought I would show you, in case you were a little bit nervous to do it on your own, how to use like the Michael's Make Market balsa wood in the Glowforge Aura to cut out our ornament. Now, to do that, I have a few extra supplies. So one of the things I picked up was an electronic caliper, so that I know exactly the measurement of my material. So I have the caliper, and then a big roll of masking tape. And you can use, this is a 6-inch roll, but you can get a 12-inch roll or anything like that. But the masking, the reason you want your material to be masked is that it burns, like the laser will burn the etching or the shape that you're cutting out. It burns it into the wood, and if you don't have the masking on there, that burning can kind of feather out from your cut and go onto your design that you don't want it to be on. I actually have, I was testing out some different materials with this design. So I have that in here. I'm gonna pull that out so you can see how that burning works. Now I do have these little, I cut these little, I don't know what they're called, but pins from acrylic. And they are super helpful if your wood is not flat. It will not cut evenly. So if your wood is not flat, it won't cut out evenly. But you see here on this piece down here, this part of my wood did not have, oh, you can keep it on the overhead. This piece here did not have masking on it. This was right on the wood. So when I had this one, I'm sorry, no, this does have the masking. The masking is on this. And when you peel the masking off on that burn part, so where it's burned there, as you peel the masking off of your wood, that burn does not show on the wood. So my wood is very clean and the burn does not show on that wood. I do always recommend to do, and we can keep it on that overhead for another minute. I do always recommend, if you're working with materials that are not proof grade materials, that you do some test cuts. These are just like pieces of wood I picked up at Michael's just to kind of play around with. And this board was warped. So it did not cut the whole way through. I can bend it off and sand that. But this I used to get like the right, I was more focusing on testing out my engraving and how deep I needed to go on my engraving. So see where the engraving kind of had that burned look on it? With the masking, when you peel that masking off, you get like a really nice, let me turn that upside down for you guys. You get a really nice finished look on your wood. So you don't have that burn look left on your actual wood. If you want to read me, I can see some Q&As coming in. If you wouldn't mind reading those to me, I forgot to enlarge my screen. I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay. Someone wanted to know if there were no more classes. Luke, I believe.
So I think Michael's is having classes through December 20th or so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there'll be more classes. So that's a great, so that is how I test out my wood. I have scraps and I test out my wood. So let's jump into, I'm going to share my screen and we'll jump into Glowforge software. So the Glowforge software is web-based. So you just have to go onto their website, glowforge.com, and you sign in. Let me get this bigger. I'm not sure what I have going on here. Cut those out. So you just sign into your Glowforge. Now, when it comes up, we're going to do, I'm going to do two things. I want to make sure, let me just start here. I'll just go fresh. glowforgeaura.com. And what you'll do is you'll log in and then you'll hit create. And when you hit create, you have the option to use one of the images in their catalog, refer to your more recent designs, or create a new design. So we'll go ahead and create a brand new design. This brings up what the camera on your Glowforge sees. So it's looking at the bed of your Glowforge. So what I like to do is take a piece of paper and just put that on my bed of my Glowforge. So I kind of give myself a blank canvas, if you will. So I'll just set that in, and then I'll ask my Glowforge to do a new scan. Sometimes that happens automatically when you close the lid. It'll go ahead and there it goes. It was just doing it. So now I have a nice empty space to work with. Okay, so all of the shapes I used to create our project today, I did use the shapes in Glowforge. So I want to show you how to build out a design This class is recorded, so if you're new to the Glowforge setup with their software, it may be a little bit tricky to follow along with me, but just remember it is being recorded, so you can always go back and watch the recording and stop it and do the step and then start it again. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, the ornament we're making is a two-piece ornament. So it'll actually have let me just go ahead and stop share real quick so you guys can see. It's a two-piece ornament. So we have the ring on the ornament, and you can paint that a different color. And then we have the inside part of our ornament where you can place your bracelet, engrave it if you want to. You'll place the ring over the ornament circle, and then if you add your Era's bracelet on the inside of that. So we'll be working with two different pieces. The back piece I just refer to as the circle, and the front piece I refer to as the ring. So the first thing we'll do is create our circle, and that's so easy. So let me go ahead and I'll share my screen again. So to create your circle, you go up to the shapes icon. At the top here, you have like an edit bar, and it's not really the edit bar. It kind of is like more of a design panel, so you can insert designs here. So we'll just add a circle onto our canvas. Now, when your circle pops on, you can drag it over so you can you'll see it on your canvas here. And down on the left are your rulers and your alignment tools. So we can make our circle any size you want. So why don't I start with a 4-inch circle? So I'll have a 4-inch circle. So this will be the back part of my design. Now I need to add another circle or oval if you want. You can do either one to hang your ribbon at the top. I did an oval because I just wanted to have a little bit more space so my ribbon didn't get cinched up in there. And then you'll do 2 circles for your bracelet. So all we need to do is go back up and add 2 circle shapes. So 1, 2 circle shapes, and then I'll add a 3rd circle shape to be the oval. So my circles for my bracelets, I made those holes pretty small. About a quarter of an inch. Actually, they were a little bit less than a quarter of an inch. They were 0.2 inches. So just like I resized my back circle to be 4 inches, I want to resize my little circles to be 0.2 inches, and that'll make it really small. Now, I could always just duplicate that circle once I have the first circle on my canvas. I could just copy and duplicate that. Or I could, as I did before, add another one. The great thing about doing a copy and paste, let me just show you. When you do a copy and paste for something, so same thing, Control Copy, and then you have the option, if you right-click on it, to paste as a new step or just to paste it. So if I just paste it on the canvas, it's on the same layer as the original, those 2 little circles. So if I really wanted to make my life easier, I don't know if I can, they're a little bit trickier to edit that way, but why don't we get it? I'm going to do that. So I have everything on the same layer. So I don't have so many layers to deal with. We'll just put that right there. So we'll have 1 at the top and then 2 circles on the sides for your bracelet to go into. Now it's up to you kind of how far apart you want them to be. I think the bigger your word, the further apart you want it, but you can always fill in your word with some extra beads. So I'm just going to grab both of these circles, and I want to show you, if you go back down to the edit bar, I can align these circles by aligning the top of their shapes. So that aligns them by top, or you can align them center middle. So it lines them up that way. And then I'm going to go a little bit bigger here, go a little bit wider, not too much. I think that's probably about wide enough. So I'll select both of those circles again. I'm going to align their centers. Now I want to make sure that they're aligned to the center of my big circle. So I'll select the big circle and I'll choose align center again. So that aligned those to the middle of the circle. Now, if I wanted to align them in a center horizontal way, if I clicked center horizontal, they move so that they're both in the middle. But if I don't want them to both be in the middle, but I want it to be aligned in the center of the larger circle, you can take these two smaller circles, right click on them and select group. So what that does is when you group two or more elements together, it holds them in position relative to each other. So now when I choose center horizontal, it moves them into the center of the circle. So let me show you what I mean by that again. So it just is a trick to make it easier to align everything. So I've got my two circles and I've got them distanced how far apart I want them to be. I'm going to choose my big circle and say align those in the center. And then I'm going to go move the little circles down a little bit so that I have room for my text. And then we'll change this top circle. We'll kind of get that in the direction up at the top here. But again, I want to make this, instead of having a circle, I want it to be an oval. So I just go to my measurements and I unlock the proportion. Let me see. I don't know if I can move that. I just click that little piece in the middle and it unlocks the proportion. So now I can change the width of this shape to be like, let's say 0.5 and make it more of an oval shape. And then again, you just need to align that to the center of your circle. And if I want to make sure that these two little circles don't move, I'm going to select those and my big circle, and we'll group those together so that that all stays together. And then we'll pick everything and say that align center, which it already is. So there's the back of your circle. Before I add our border, were there any questions? I'm just going to nudge.
Luke wanted to know, can you send him the Glowforge? It was Aura Laser.
Can I do what with it?
He said, can you send me the Glowforge?
Can I send
That was
him?
the question. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not sure I understand what that means. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe he wanted to know the type.
Yeah, this is the Glowforge Aura, and it's available at your local Michaels stores. Okay, so I have, now that I have the back of my ornament design, I just need to make a ring. So to make the ring, I'm just going to take the back circle size and I'll add another circle onto my canvas. So we're just going to move all, oops. Let me group everything together. That top circle, I may need to move him, nudge that up a little bit. We'll see. Okay, so let's see. Let me grab that little piece and the big pieces, and I'm going to group everything together. This allows me to move that to the side. So we'll add another circle to make our ring. And then you can decide how big you want your ring to be around the edge. If you want it to be thick, you can make it a little bit thicker than this circle. So if I wanted to go a little bit bigger than this, it might go to like 3.25 inches. Oops. I'm going to have that proportion locked, and we're going to go to 3.25 inches. So that now that that's going to be my ring, it's a little bit bigger. And I need to make a copy of this one and paste on that same one there. So I'll have this one. And we'll make this one 4 inches. So remember, I'm just making my ring there. Oops. I want that one over there. And we're going to make this 4 inches, just like our background ring is. There we go. Okay. So this will go in the middle of this ring here. And we'll just select both of those and align those rings to the center. And that will be my outside ring. So when I cut it, I want to cut the outside and the inside. And these will be together. So we'll group those together. And then I'm just going to make sure that I have everything in place, because my little, this little hole there, we need to have that both on the back circle and the ring. So I'm going to edit in the group, and I'll take my little circle, my little oval here, and I'm just going to push it up a nudge. And I can edit. That's the cool thing about when you have elements grouped together, you can edit right in the group. Okay, that looks perfect. I love it. All right, so I just need to duplicate my oval here, that little piece there. Sometimes it's a little tricky to grab. Guess I got that one there. Let's see if I can just get that. And do a control copy and a control paste. Oops, wrong one. That's the back piece. So I want to just grab my circle and do a control copy and a control paste and align those two together. There we go. So those are aligned together there. And then we're going to bring back our ring and make sure that everything lines up. That looks pretty good. I think I can move those up just a little bit more. Sometimes for me, when I do my own design, it is a lot of eyeballing. So it just depends on, it's kind of like a feel for it. So I just kind of go like, yeah, I think that's it. And if you're not comfortable with that, what I would recommend is that you cut out your design on cardstock first. And then you can always make sure that it's the right, like you're happy with how that design worked out. You can do it that way. Okay, so let's see. Now I just need to grab my little oval and attach it to my ring. So I just need one of the ovals and one of the outside ring. Now that's together, and I can group this together, and then I can group this group together, which is already grouped together. So you see how I put that little oval in the top of my design there? I'm ready to add that in. Now the last step, so these two layers that we've done so far are all cuts. We would cut all of these layers. The last thing you want to do is add, like I put 2024 will be, and then your word of the year. So what you do to add a text layer is you select the text box, and then you just type in your font or your words. Like, so I'm going to say 2024, and you'll see once I hit enter, it's on my canvas right here. So I can choose what type of font I want. I can go bigger, I can go smaller. There are a lot of fonts to choose from within the software, so you can kind of get an idea of what you like. So if you like something a little bit more angled, you could do that. I think I can't remember which font I originally used. I kind of like something a little bit more, a little fancier. Okay, I like that one. So then I can just enlarge this font, and then we'll add one more text layer to say 2024 will be, and you can just type that out. Again, that'll pop up right there in that window, and then you can choose your font from here. So maybe you want more of a handwritten font. You want to do something a little bit fancier, so you can just go with like a cursive font. And you can put that right in the center of your ornament. If you wanted to do, say, a Taylor Swift theme, and for your Swiftie, you could say in my, and there's a great font I found for this. I really liked it. It was LIU, I think was how it started. It was that one. Oh, is that it? So I gotta get closer to my screen. It was, yeah, that was it. But it wasn't a cursive one. It was just a, There we go. In my, and then you could say whatever you know, your bracelet could have the words written out. So if you were gonna do like in my my kids are all in school, so I thought, oh, I could do an ornament for them that would say their school name. So in their like JMU era, or in their George Mason era, or in their Madison era. And then that you could, like, if you wanted to resell these, you could totally, you know, have ones that coordinate with your school, your local schools, and put those out in your market. So you could say in my blank era, or, you know, whatever you wanted to say here. Now these two layers, because they're a text, instead of being cut, these will be engraved. So just keep that in mind. They will engrave, so you'll need to select different settings on these two layers. Before I move on and say I'm done, I just want to make sure everything is placed within my circle and it won't kind of go into the curve there of my ring. So I'm just going to kind of give a little nudge on some things and make sure everything's lined up. This is going to be my outside ring, and these two pieces, like if you wanted to, you could recenter these and make sure if you wanted to be really centered, you could do that. Okay, so once you've got everything done, you would select your material. Now, let me stop sharing my screen, because if we can go to the overhead, okay, I'll show you when you put your material in your aura and you've got a QR code in there, it will automatically set your material for you, and it will automatically set your cut settings. So I'll go back into the my little aura here, and you'll see it picked up on the material settings. This is a light plywood basswood, and it picked up the material settings, and it does all the cutting on the side for me. Like I don't have to think about it. It does everything for me. When you're using material that is not proof grade material, and you put that in, let me see if I have a piece ready to go. Do a nice piece here. Let's talk about how we do that. So let me close up my lid again, and we'll talk about how we get our machine ready to do non-proof grade materials. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'll use my caliper, and I will measure my material. So I'm going to open up a new package of the Make Market material. Let's see if I can get that in there. This is the Make Market basswood, and it is 1/16 of an inch. Now, sometimes wood can vary a little bit from packaging to packaging. So you want to make sure that's where the caliper comes in handy. Or if you've opened your material and you don't have the packaging anymore that tells you, get this open, that tells you exactly what your material width is, your caliper will come in handy. And if you have, I don't know about you guys, I have a son who loves to come in my craft space, and he picks up my stuff and looks at it. He loves that tool, the caliper. Seems like his favorite. Come in and play with that. Okay, we can come back to the front facing camera if you don't mind. All right, so I'm going to get this open. So this is the Make Market basswood 1/16 inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that masking to it. So the masking, again, will keep it from burning. So I just have to put it, since my ornaments will just take up about half of it, I'm only going to do 1/2 of it to mask it. I won't do the whole thing. So what I like to do is so it's open, it's out of the package. I'm not going to get my exact measurement of it yet. I'm going to wait and when I have my tape on it, just in case if my tape gives it like a little bit more dimension. So I roll out my tape and I put my tape face down on my cutting board here. You can just use any self-healing mat. And then I'll just take my board and put that down on the masking. Now, what you want to do when you do that, you want to eliminate any wrinkles and air bubbles. So that's why I like to kind of lay it down and then put down on it. That just gives me lots of bubbles. We're going to go the reverse. I don't have quite as much space to work as I normally do. But you're just going to work that down and make sure that there are no air bubbles on your mat. And then you can just take your knife and run it along the edge here. So I've got that on one side, and then I'll do the other side as well. Now, one thing you want to look at on your wood is if it's got any warping to it or anything like that. You do want your wood to lay flat in the bed of your Glowforge, because the Glowforge, if it's raised, the Glowforge doesn't go through consistently. So you want to have your wood down and flat consistently. If you need to, you can make the little pins like I made, and I think that file is on the Glowforge website. So you can make the little pins like I've made. You can also use weights in your tray. The tray does have a little bit of, you can take the tray out if your wood happens to be super thick. You can just take that tray out. Otherwise, you want to you leave it in, like if you're doing a cutting board or something, you can take the tray out. Okay, so I've got both sides down. I'm just gonna take this little like wedge and run that across. And make sure I don't have any wrinkles in my masking there. Get that nice and smooth and clean. Then I'll take my caliper, and I love it because it's automatic, it's digital. So I don't have to really think too much about it. And I just put that in, and then I close up my caliper on it. And oops, it looks like my calipers. Let me zero myself out. Okay, so let's pull it down. So this was 1/16 inch. And it is actually 0.06 is the measurement. And you can measure, you may want to measure it in a few places. So over here, 0.06 as well. Let's just double check over here. 0.06. Okay, so my wood material is 0.06. So when I put this in, I need to choose my material at 0.06. Now I have already done some test cuts, so we're going to make sure that I'll just use my preset settings. If you're using material that you haven't used before, or it's not proof grade material, I would recommend going online and looking at settings for that. So these are my little orange clips. These are little orange clips. And let me see if I come at it from this side, if I can put them in. And they fit right in the grade there, and I'll just hold that material down nice and flat. So there's one, and I'll just put a couple in. You don't have to do overkill or anything like that. Some of them do fit in a little bit nicer than other ones. My cutting was a little bit better on some. And also if you get them in nice and smoothly. Okay, and let's grab two more. So if your material is thicker, your little holders might not hold it down as tight as you'd like it to. So just keep that in mind, because you do have a distance here to work with. Okay, so once I've got them in there, I just kind of feel around and make sure like none of the edges are bumping up, and that's smooth on the this is called the crumb board. Underneath it is the crumb. This is your camera here, and it's going to slide across. I'm sorry, this is the laser. Your camera is up in the top here. That's what this bright light is. That's your camera. This is your laser, and it goes across and down. So it'll move in all different directions. So we'll go ahead and close that up. And I'm going to come back into my Glowforge software and select my material. So from here, my camera will, it'll do a fresh scan. I can even ask it to, you can ask it to rescan the bed or set your focus. So I'll just set my focus right here. You could set your focus in the middle. But basically, when you set your focus, it helps your machine find the depth of the material. And I said, I can't remember, did I say this was 0.07 or 0.06? I think I said 0.07. So once it's all set there, I'm going to come up here because it's unrecognized material. And I just need to set my depth. So it'll tell me to set my depth here. Hopefully. Oh, it's got, oh, since I focus it, it's automatically got the depth. So here's this one. I'm going to do my, I've already got a custom setting for the make, mark, engrave setting. And if I want to look at it, it is, it'll do one pass and it does 405 lines across. My speed is at 100 and my my power is at 2. Now I could bump that up if I wanted to a little bit. So I might go up a little bit more and go at like a power of 4, and you could reduce it. These are the things you can change if you didn't like how it showed up originally. You could change your settings, and these are the settings you would change. So I've got 100, 4, and 270. So I'm going to do the same thing here. We'll change this one 100. I'll bump this up to 4, and then I'll go at 270 as well. Oops, that was 4. Yeah, okay. So that's my settings there. And then my cut settings, I've also done my make market cut settings, and those will change. Those will be at 10, 10, and I just need one pass. So all my settings are going to be the make market cut settings. And we're ready to go. So once you've selected your material, it will give you a warning and say, you're not using proof grade material. Are you sure you want to continue? Now, I should have moved these up to the corner so that they weren't right in the middle of my board, but I kind of want us to be able to see them, see it as it cuts if we go to the overhead. I'll show you how it's, right now it's the software is thinking and it's getting everything calibrated and positioned for me. And once it's ready to go, the light here will start to flash. It will, the light right here, it will tell me how long it will take to do the cut. Once you start cutting, you don't want to move your Glowforge around. So like I was very tempted just now to straighten it up, but I'd probably be better off straightening my camera here for you. There we go. You don't want to move it or bump it. It will automatically go off if you move it or bump it. So it will automatically stop cutting. So if you've got it in a precarious place and a kid bumps it or something like that, it will shut off. Okay, so my little light is, can you see that light flashing? And all I have to do is hit go. Now I've got the filter is set up behind me, and the filter is a little bit louder, but we did test it earlier, so hopefully you guys can still hear me and I can still hear you. And while this runs, I'm happy to answer any questions. This will take about 10 minutes to run. So while that runs, I wanted to go ahead and make some different ornaments for the design. And then I can add those to the design. when it's done. So if you have questions, and if you wouldn't mind reading me the questions again, I'm happy to answer questions about your Glowforge, what you can make with it, what materials you can use, and all those types of questions that you may have had.
Yes, Luke had a question. He wanted to know if he could make a flower with it.
If I could do a flower?
Mm-hmm. Like flower kind of pattern.
Yeah, so it is a flat cutter. It cuts flat designs, but you can build those designs up into three-dimensional objects. I don't know if there's specifically a design for that, but there might be in the Aura software. There's so many different things you can make. And the great thing about the Aura software too is that you can upload a design into your software. So if you felt like, you know, I'm really not like, I'm not creative, which hopefully nobody feels like that. But if you were like, creativity part of it is not my strong point, you could certainly purchase designs that are already done for you and add those onto your design.
And another anonymous attendee wanted to know if a wreath was possible. Making a wreath was possible.
Oh yeah, you could like the door hangers, the flat door hangers. Those are so popular and easy to make on the Glowforge. You can get a cut file, make your own cut file, but you can also browse in the Glowforge Aura software for a wreath ornament, a door hanger. Let me why don't I share my screen? And I'll show you some of those. So if you go share this, and I'll open up another window. So if I go here and I go to Glowforge. We were at a Christmas market this past weekend, and my husband was like, I kept going, oh, look, that's that was done with a laser cutter. That was done with a laser cutter. And it was kind of fun to see all the different things people had created with a laser cutter. So if I do a search for the word wreath, I think I spelled that right. Here are, you know, the software has a lot of choices that you can use. If you have the premium, you have access to those designs. Again, you can purchase the designs a la carte, but you can also upload designs into your Glowforge Aura account. And there's like, here's some of the three-dimensional items, you know, like a little record player or other types of ornaments that you don't have to design that are already designed for you. Really, it's your unlimited options as far as what you can create and what you can do. If you want to go to the overhead again, I think you'll be able to see some of the engraving that's coming over. See if we can see. So you can see how it's already doing the engraving. So it'll do the engraving first, and then it will do the cuts. So the engraving will be the first thing, and then it can do the cuts. We did do another workshop on before the Thanksgiving holiday on making three-dimensional pumpkins, and it was like a pumpkin with lattice work, and then it had a little stand with it that was just I was looking to see if I still had one in my space, but I think I tucked them away for next year. But that was a really fun type of design to make with the Aura. I'm also really excited about making some gingerbread. I can cut out gingerbread designs and then give one to everybody in the family, and they can assemble the gingerbread design. Really, it's working hard. And let's see how I can tell you how much time is left, so we know. That's the other thing I love about the software here is that you can kind of see. So I've got 5 minutes and 10 seconds, 5 minutes left. So it's about halfway through. You don't get to see the progress, but you do get to see that. as you're going through. So how many of you all who are here tonight have your Glowforge already? Or how many of you have this as something on your wish list to add to your craft arsenal in 2024?
We've got one, me.
It is so much fun. And the filter, I do have the filter down here. I can pull that up and show that to you afterwards, but you definitely have to have a filter on the system. It releases a lot of smoke, and the smoke, the smoke is really strong. So it does, you definitely have to have a filter. If you don't have the filter, if you don't get the filter with it, you want to be able to filter it out a window. And you do that just like you do, you would do a, your laundry, like think about how you vent your dryer. That's how you would vent your filter. I actually have the filter for my window. Let me show you this. On warmer days, or if I'm not on camera, I will use this window vent. So I just picked this up on Amazon, and it's great because in the spring, actually in the fall, because I didn't have this in the spring, but in the fall, I was able to pretty much leave this in my window when it didn't get too hot, but it expands. Oops. It expands, so depending on how big your window is, you could add to it. And there was another piece, but I didn't have too big a window. And then you just put the vent tube, so it's got this tube here, and you put the vent right on here, and it just exhausts outside. So you don't even have to worry about it. But you definitely do want to have some sort of venting on it.
Kesley, Kathy wants to tell you that her local library has 2 Glowforges available for use by reservation.
Oh, that is awesome. Have you gone in and used them yet? Do you have to bring your own materials? Oh, I love that. And you can, try different materials. We can, for your ornament tonight, if you take the circle design and remove the words, you can cut that out of felt and then add a little felt square to the back of the design and then hang that on your tree that way. And you can also, if you do use the felt, think about adding some essential oils to the wood. If you hang it in a car, then it becomes an air freshener.
Kathy replied. She said, yes, and you have to have your own material, but they do have test material.
I love that. I love, we have a couple libraries in our area that are doing doing maker spaces, and they'll have like some sort of digital cutting machine, the laser cutter. I would use that. If you have that available to you, I would go in there and use that. Take your book, and while it's cutting and engraving, you can read a book. And again, like you probably can you can download your own designs. You can buy designs. There are so many places to find designs and purchase designs that you are just have unlimited ideas that you can do. Yeah, and I would join, I've joined a couple Facebook groups. I have like 3 or 4 different Facebook groups that I've joined to share what I'm making, and other people will share what they've made. And we talk about like what worked, what didn't work, how something went together. This was another little class we did. If you still weren't sure if you're on the fence, it was a little gift card that you can just put a little, it's a coffee mug that you can add a gift card to, like that, and then add that in there. So that was great. If you wanted to make it easier, so I have 2 things out of my pipe. Let me see. So if you wanted to make it easier, like if you don't feel comfortable gluing, I have this E6000 glue. That's what I usually use to glue things on. But you can also get this roll of 3M tape. And instead of putting the masking on, you put the 3M tape on the back, and then that has the adhesive already on there. So you can just do that right as is. All right, so it's done. Now you want to let it sit for a couple, like 30 seconds. I'm never patient enough to do that. But you do want to kind of let it sit and let the smoke go away before opening it up. So we're just going to let that sit for a second and then open it up. So once I open it up, I'm just going to remove my pins. These are the little pins. I'm just removing those so that my wood stayed in flat. And it looks like it didn't cut through, but that's just the masking tape holding on there. Not wanting to let go of such a cute design. So unfortunately, I didn't mask the whole thing. Remember, I was like, oh, I'm just going to mask half of it, but then I didn't move my design. So that was a mistake. So what we do to finish your ornament off, and I'm just going to, let me just grab this here. Now, I'm kind of second thinking my way that I did I did that with a light engraving. I think I would have changed that. It was a light font. You can choose the fonts to be a little bit different. So for this one, I chose the font to be a light font. So I think that didn't come out as nicely as I would have liked it to. So what I think I would do is come back and if I were making these, first of all, I forgot I had tested that out earlier. But you could always come back and cut out the letters and put the letters onto this design. So you could just cut out the letters and have the era be your engraving. Here's our finished project. So now you do get the edges of it, since they're burned, it will get brown on your fingers. What I like to do is keep alcohol handy, and then I just will take a lint-free cloth with a squirt or two of alcohol on it, which I have here. So I just have like a squirt bottle and a pack of these lint-free cloths. So I'll just put a little squirt on there, and then I will run that around the edge of my design. And that just takes off that little bit of charcoal. If you've got, if you had the burn come over onto your wood, that also can take the burn off the wood. So if that happens, you can just run that around and I'll take the burn off the wood there. Maintenance wise, so see how you can see that burn on the wood, but when I take that masking off, you don't see that burn. And maintenance wise, it's very low maintenance, which it surprises me for such a high-tech device. So now we're just going to line that back up. I would paint my outside circle. We don't have time to do that tonight, but you can see how I painted that. And then you just take your little, whatever bracelet you made. So this one says this is for George Mason University. So you just pop that in. We'll go over here and I'll pop that in on this side. So when what I did with the other one, so I could take some of these off. It's a little bit big. I did glue the letters down because I didn't want them to wiggle around too much. So I did glue those down on this fierce one. Let's see. On this ornament here, I glued the letters, most of the letters down in the middle. So over the years, it wouldn't lose its design there. Let's just go over here, take this out. Now, okay, so maintenance wise, that's what I wanted to mention. For maintenance wise, every time you cut the laser burns. So it's going to burn into the wood, and it kind of puts like a gummy residue onto the, oh, I did that upside down, guys. Sorry. It puts a gooey residue onto your tray, your crumb tray. Okay, so how fun is that? Put that one right there, and I will come back and turn this back around. It's backwards. Sorry. It's hard to work upside down. Okay, so, and then you can just put a little bit of glue on the back of this and add a little felt circle if you wanted to, or just leave it. I kind of like the natural wood look of it, just like that. So it's kind of fun, like having it that way as well. Let me just show you cleaning off your machine after you've used it. You do want to clean your machine almost every time you use it. So like if you just did a design and you're gonna go ahead and close up for the night, I take a cloth. I usually don't use a white cloth, but that's the one I see here. Oh, there's another one. I see it. I knew I had another cloth out here. I didn't want to get the white one dirty. So let me show you you can see the residue. Does that help? You can see those like circles where it's kind of brown. And over time that builds up, and it builds up in your machine and on your tray. So it makes it a little, I don't know, it makes it weird to put stuff down on there when it's got a lot of buildup on the tray. So I like to, after I have done my cutting, so I'll have a cut session, have a little sesh, and then, oh, you can see, now you can see those circles. So I put a little alcohol right on my lint-free rag here, and I just run that alcohol right over here. You can use Lysol wipes if you need to. If you're cutting something that has like maybe a lot of dust to it, you want to, I vacuum out my crumb tray. So that's the part underneath this, so that, see how messy that gets? So you vacuum it out, and then that keeps any debris from in there. The reason you want to keep it clean is the laser, you don't want to give it something to catch a spark or catch a fire. So you do want to keep it clean. It also keeps your laser cutting smoothly. So we'll just clean that right off. And see how clean that is now? And then you can just turn it over. I'll let it dry. And then just put it back in my Glowforge when I'm ready to, once it's dried off a little bit. And it dries quickly. The alcohol doesn't stay on there or anything like that. But you want to just do both sides. Do a quick, see how dirty that side was? Just do a quick wipe down. And that's it. That's all you have. That's your maintenance of your machine. You don't have to worry about having different mats or anything like that to put in it. It just goes, everything goes right on this crumb tray. And then you just have to keep this nice and clean. So once you've cleaned it off, it'll just go right back in. It's got little notches in there, but the little piece, my little circle there, I don't know if you guys can see. Pop that right back in. This little piece here is on the inside. So you just want to pull that out and make sure, like any little loose pieces, you just kind of can clean that out and make sure you don't get dirty. And that's it. That's all you have to do to clean it. All right. If there were I think that's everything. Super excited. Thank you everybody so much for joining me. I'd love to see your ornaments. If you're on Instagram, please tag me, Kesley.365. Tag Learn with Michaels, and we'd love to see what you're creating. Thank you guys. I hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season. Thank you.